There's nothing that really puts me in the Christmas spirit more than visiting a local greenhouse and seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of poinsettias, as we see here at Clausen's greenhouses in Colchester before the holiday season. And there's just so many different types. There's some new types in addition to the traditional red ones that you might want to consider. This is probably one of the most different. This is a rose series. It's a red and a pink rose. It actually looks kind of like a rose, very different. This is one that I've liked. It came out several years ago called Monet. A new one, a punch series. There's a sparkling and a nice punch with a little bit of white in the leaves. Traditional white, you can get just a traditional pink. One such as this, which is again a kind of different one with speckles in it. This has a lot of speckles. This is called glitter. There's an older variety called Jingle Bells. It's really nice. And then there are the types with kind of white on the edges. That's called a marble type. And there's red and white marbles. And then for one that's, if you want a really maroon color, there's this new maroon color of poinsettia. So those are just some of the range of the different types. If you can't decide, how about a tricolor mix? Several put together, or even a couple of colors, as we see in the back with the punch series, the ice punch and the sparkling punch, the red and the pink with the white in it. We saw earlier in the small size. So again, if you have a small space or want to put them on small tables, the small sizes, but the big ones, even you can hang ones like this. I often get one of these. They're so full, take the hanger off and just set that on a table, and it just is beautiful there. So as far as choosing them, a couple of other things to keep in mind when you do go out and look for them. Keep in mind that these colored parts are actually modified leaves called bracts. The bits in the center, the little yellow parts, are the flowers. And that's what you want to look at, because when choosing one, you want those either not open or still very tight. If they're all the way open, that means the poinsettia is pretty old and going past, hasn't had the right care. If they're not even there, again, a good side that hasn't had the right care. So you want these little yellow buds in the center, which are the true flowers. Also, look at the foil for a couple of reasons. One is often it hides lack of leaves, or in this case, kind of one-sided. This didn't get enough light on this side. You want one that's balanced all the way around. So look for that. And also, the foil, attractive as it is, will hold water if it doesn't have a hole. Usually they don't. So when you get that home, either take the foil off, or what I do is make a small hole in the bottom, put it in a saucer to keep the water from draining onto furniture, and that way you can see how much water is there. You don't want the poinsettia sitting in water. That's one of the things it doesn't like. But first, to get it home, once you've chosen one, you want to protect it from cold. They really don't like cold that we have up here. Very sensitive. That can make the flowers turn bad. So make sure if they're small, in a paper bag or this sleeve, as it's called, for plants, make sure it's fastened at the top, either with tape or a staple. So a good store will do that. Insist on that, or else your plant may not live when it's coming home. Make sure the car is warm. All these things, remember, it doesn't have a coat on. That's all it's got to protect it from the cold. And then once home, you want to make sure, again, that it doesn't get overwatered. If in doubt, don't water. Keep it on the dry side and make sure it drains well. And keep the poinsettias away from windows or wood stoves. They really don't like warm or cold drafts on them. Other than that, they're pretty foolproof, will last a long time. And one of the things to keep in mind, too, that I often get questions about, even for my daughter this year, is the poinsettia poisonous to people or pets? And the answer is no. That's a myth. It's not poisonous to pets or people. Pets may sample a leaf, like our cats did this year, and with the milky sap in there, they'll find quickly that that doesn't taste very good and doesn't agree with their tummies. But these are not poisonous. And there's some other holiday plants you might consider, though, if you want something different, or plants to last a long time. One is the cyclamen. These come in various sizes, from real small to real big. This is actually a miniature cyclamen. There are ones with bigger flowers. It's a regular cyclamen. Again, purples, whites, bicolors, reds like this. This is a good stage to buy a cyclamen. You want a few flowers open, a few buds, and look underneath, because you want some other flowers coming along as well, some of those buds. The cyclamen likes it cool. Poinsettia likes it warm. This likes it cooler, maybe 55 to 65, and it likes even watering. This one, too wet or too dry, leaves may drop off and turn yellow. So even watering with a cyclamen, not sitting in water but not too dry either, will keep this for the longest time. Another one that you often see in stores all over is the calancho. This is actually a succulent, meaning it's very succulent leaves, very thick. It's kind of a dry, xeriscape type plant, so it really doesn't like to be overwatered. This comes in reds, oranges, yellows, purples, a lot of really bright colors. So again, a little bit on the dry side. This will last for weeks, probably, maybe 2 or 3 months even, with the flowers coming on those. So that's a great one to have, as is, if you want one, probably the longest lasting is the Christmas cactus. This is the one I've heard people say they got from their grandmother, they've had for 20 or 30 years. As it grows, gradually repotted every few years, maybe a clay pot, but this is in a hanger, but you can also put it in just a regular pot on the table, and this will bloom around Christmas. Purples, there's whites, there's reds on the Christmas cactus. So again, a cactus, so again, don't overwater this, keep it a bit on the dry side if anything, and hopefully you would get many years of bloom out of this. So, just to recap with the poinsettia, don't overwater, keep them away from drafts, away from windows, away from wood stoves, they don't like that either, and treat it as a house plant with as much light as you can give it after the holidays and fertilizer. For University of Vermont Extension, I'm Leonard Perry.